And that, again, is where things, man, quickly going bad to worse there for Adrian Peterson. A lot to talk about there coming up next week. Speaking of other things going wrong, Todd Gurley finding himself in a Johnny Football type situation. And I'm not talking about not being able to play on the field. I'm talking about making some money off of it. If you guys haven't heard, the NCAA investigation swirling on whether he has done. Remember, Johnny was in this similar situation, Manziel, last year with the accusations of making money and signing stuff. Apparently, reports from ESPN, Gurley was seeking between $8 and $25 per signature for pieces that he had signed. There's apparently more than 500 items that have already been linked to him having signed them that have certificates of authenticity. There's jerseys and helmets and photos and pairs of shoes, all kinds of things. They've got serial numbers lined up. They know that they were done, and they know that they were paid for. The questioning now is whether Gurley's the one that received the money for them or whether it was somebody else. But Georgia announces his suspension yesterday. Georgia's got a big one coming up this weekend. I was going to talk about some of the games you got on the slate. Ohio State's off. That's one of them. Bulldogs, 4-1. 13th ranked. They take on Mizzou, who are also 4-1, ranked number 23. Gurley not going to play, but he was taken out there with the suspension. So we'll see what happens. Remember, John Manziel, that was early in the offseason last year, and then they ended up having him sit out. What did he sit, a quarter or half or something of the first? He sat out the first half of the first game of the season. So we'll see what happens there. But Gurley's a name a lot of people here in Cleveland familiarized themselves with too, because he's one of the top receiver prospects, and obviously with the Browns having 2 first-round draft picks, and especially before this season started and the Browns receiving core looked like it was not going to be as good as it's done so far, that was one of the guys people were pointing to going, hey, man, there's a draft pick for the Browns next year. And so he's a little bit more familiar name-wise to people here in Cleveland, perhaps because of that. So who knows how it affects. I mean, at the end of the day, if a team thinks these guys going to help them win, then a team's going to go with it. Speaking of that, speaking of a team thinking that, I have not heard this story blow up yet, but I expect it will over the next couple of days. Jerry Angelo, who used to be the general manager of the Bears, talking about hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of domestic violence incidents during his time that were brushed by or weren't disciplined or were protected by the franchise or by the league or so on and so forth. He said it's our business to win games, and that's what we go out there and do, and we got our priorities out of, except, of course, you got to love the minimizing. We got our priorities a little out of order. We knew the domestic abuse was wrong, but for whatever reason, it kind of got glossed over. I'm no psychiatrist. I can't get into that, but I know how it was. I look at myself in the mirror, and I didn't stand alone. I mean, there's no doubt. I don't need some former guy, and the Bears are mad. Mike Ditka said you should keep your mouth shut. You didn't do anything when you were in charge. You're gutless, and so on and so forth. I don't know. I hear people about that, but, same time, I mean, it's not like I need this guy to tell me that. I mean, come on. They tried to cover it up in 2014 with Ray Rice. You don't think they were trying to cover it up in 1984? You don't think there was a lot of stuff that was kept out of it because exactly those lines were it. We knew it was wrong. Our business is to win games, and they went way too far in that aspect of it. I can't wait over the next however many years to hear some of the horror stories that come out that'll make what happened with Ray Rice look like kids' child's play. It'll look like a movie, a little scene off of the after-school movie of the week compared to some of the things that have happened. I'm willing to bet, and I'm positive, have happened over the course of history. So I didn't need Jerry Angelo to tell me that, but interesting he came out and said that. But you love the minimum. You got to love that. Like, I don't know why, the psychology of it, because you wanted to win. And to you, that woman or whatever, that significant other, was collateral damage to winning football games. And at the end of the day, if Joe Blow linebacker could sack the quarterback 4 or 5 times this week, then he was allowed to sack his wife 4 or 5 times at home too, and you guys found a way to cover it up. This is just the beginning of that stuff starting to come out. Man, speaking of the beginning, let's wrap things up and set you up for the beginning of next week. Playoffs begin, the championship series, as we already previewed here. Kansas City and Baltimore tonight. Buckeyes are off here this weekend. Cavs got you covered there, playing some basketball. In the meantime, there's a lot of football coming up, as I just said, besides that Mizzou game in Georgia that we were talking about. You got several other matchups. That one's a top 25 battle there, but how about the biggest of them? Auburn, Mississippi State, 2-3, getting at it Saturday at 3:30. Oregon, UCLA, TCU and Baylor, another pair of there's a top 20 and a top 10 matchup there with TCU and Baylor. And you got Mississippi and Texas A&M. So you've got at least 5 clashes of sets of top 25 teams here this weekend. So even though the Buckeyes are off, there is some great football action on tap here. I expect to see the upset trend continue. Plus, as a Buckeye fan, I'm going to root for the upset trend to continue. Let's get those one-loss teams piled up here so that the Buckeyes can get themselves back into the one-game playoff chase, assuming that they can or into the playoff chase, assuming that the one-loss playoff chase is what I meant, assuming that they can take care of their business too. So it'll be a lot of fun there. And then get past Saturday, you get to Sunday. Brownies, Steelers, what more needs to be said? We set the stage for it. You guys know what's up. I can tell you, First Energy Stadium is going to be jumping. The crowd's going to be electric. What do the Browns do with that? Do they lay an egg or do they make it happen? We'll talk about it on Monday. John McMullen from the Sports Network will be here. Dan Wismar from the Cleveland Fan. He's coming fresh from First Energy Stadium, letting us know what he saw firsthand. So we're going to talk about all of that, everything that happened this weekend and more as we kick off another week right here on the Sports Fix. Guys, have a great weekend. There is no shortage of things to watch here this weekend, and let's do it Monday, same bad time, same bad channel, live at noon here on the Sports Fix and the Sports Fix Radio Network. We love you, Cleveland. Go Browns. We'll see you on Monday.
Kings play Cleveland.